2. All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Got Therapy, the Dan Rose Show.
I fell asleep.
What happened?
That intro was so long.
I've been accused of having the world's longest intro.
I fell asleep and had a dream.
That is an exact.
You know? Here's the dream I had. Actually,
Yeah.
I had this dream last night. I think I've told you about this dream before.
Okay, go ahead.
I dreamt that I was eating this giant marshmallow,
Yes.
and I woke up this morning, and one of my pillows was gone.
You know, I have heard that
That's
dream before
gone.
on this, and now our viewers get to relive that moment.
You get to it. It's an oldie but a goodie. It's the only
Ladies and
clean one I know.
gentlemen, Got Therapy, that's Dr. Dan Rose. We're right there. And today on Got
Love.
Therapy.
Today is Valentine's Day.
It is Valentine's Day, and I assume there's no way out. We have to talk about it.
Yeah, like I had a card for you, and I've left it, but it was a card. It was a picture
Yes.
of this French clown kind of guy. He's wearing sort of a leotard, and his face is kind of painted up, and it says "Be Mime."
Be mime. Oh,
Yeah.
that is a long way to go for that.
That was what I got.
That was really, really good. So, Valentine's Day, boy, this is
I like mimes.
Where did Valentine's Day, where did it originate? We don't know that.
It's I think you were talking earlier. I think it's a construction.
Yes.
It's a capitalist. It is a construction. It's a way of I think. Card companies and such found a way to be able to generate, move capital. The flow of capital moves in a certain direction on Valentine's Day.
It's the only way to prop up the flower industry.
Yeah, it moves into the flower industry, the card industry.
Yes, but there really are expectations out there. If you don't.
You know what industry that
something
isn't really
happens
affected
here.
by Valentine's Day?
Okay, here we go.
Concrete. It's
Yes.
really not. But those sorts of things, really, you don't buy people concrete or even think about concrete on Valentine's Day. It's not.
I'm working on that. I don't know where.
I don't know.
But no, you think of chocolates and flowers and
Candy.
other candy.
Candy is also.
You got the little box of hearts with the little phrases on there. You got all the way up to the bouquet of roses, and it costs a lot of money. Roses are expensive. Flowers are very expensive.
Rose, and my last name, as you know, is connected with said thing. Not that I have any real connection to roses other than that, but they are expensive.
They are, but you are expected to show up with something for your significant other.
In fact, the expectation is. And you were talking like if we're going to talk about Valentine's Day anyway, we could talk about the idea that there was a little thing in the Onion. You ever watch the Onion? Do the Onions?
Favorite newspaper.
Okay, and the line was girlfriend is putting everything, or the girlfriend is placing the whole strength of relationship on Valentine's Day, something like that.
Right.
So everything is rolling on Valentine's Day.
That's not far from the truth for a lot of people.
And for some
That's an
people,
exaggeration,
it can be very important. Right? It's a make or break thing, and there's a certain panic, a certain fear and anxiety
if you love
around
me,
this.
you will do these things. I will get this, and this will happen. Wow. It all kind of some total comes down to that one day, and whether you do something or not, and you get a gift or not, and that shows whether you love the person or not.
Well, maybe we should first to define love, because it's difficult to define, right?
Absolutely, it is.
It has from a evolutionary biological perspective, love is a means by which a child is bound to a parent or a set of parents, and in turn, the parents themselves are bound together to maintain the potential health of the child so their genes can be passed on to the next generation. Not very romantic, right?
See, I've been around you long enough. I was just thinking of several jokes to
Go ahead.
come back with what I was saying. What's it got to do with pants? But
Yeah. Which, by the way,
so
I'm not wearing pants,
I
and
am
you wouldn't know. You don't know. You
trying
can't
not to
tell.
be influenced here, but that was a very good explanation, I think.
He's not
And
wearing
so we
pants.
about that. All right, that's a definition then.
That is. But I don't think that would sell much in the way of chocolates or help people out there in being able to maintain a healthy relationship. So maybe we can talk about generating and maintaining a healthy relationship.
Oh, I like that.
And
one.
you, that whole marriage and family therapy thing,
Yes,
that's an area.
yes.
So this is close to your heart.
Yep.
And I do believe
stuff.
you've actually been in a relationship before at one point.
Yes, I have.
Okay, I
Still
thought
in
that
one,
would be
yeah.
something you could pull from.
Yes, absolutely.
Turtles do count. That's a joke.
See, we got to go there on these things. Well, that keeps our audience interested because they want to know where we're going next and these kind of things.
For turtles.
So the relationship side of it, being in a relationship, it's all we talk about accommodation, we talk about give and take, we talk about love, and love is that momentary thing, but is
Extortion.
it over time? Here we go.
The basis of my relationship, extortion.
How do you maintain a relationship over a long period of time? There's always going to be ups and downs in those kinds of things. So it's not an easy thing, and it shouldn't be boiled down to one event like Valentine's Day, should it? I mean, what if I forget? There's a lot of guys out there probably watching right now that if they see this, and I'm not sure when it's going to air, but it's like, oops, I forgot to do something for Valentine's Day. Maybe they didn't.
Who are we kidding? This is not going to air. In a minute, I'm going to say something that will make this completely unable to
We've
be.
had a lot of shows we've had to just kind of recall and put back in the vault.
Here's the interesting thing. Being of a Freudian nature myself,
Okay, let's get the Freudian view.
you really don't forget Valentine's Day.
Ooh, gentlemen.
I mean,
I'm saying, news for you out there.
I'm just saying.
Show. You didn't forget.
I mean, you probably,
You avoided something.
Right. It was conflict. Your heart is in conflict. It may be the very fear of messing up, of not getting the right thing.
Right.
It may be the way in which this holiday is somehow entwined into some of your conflicts over commitment itself.
Right.
This could be so
Yes.
if you find yourself forgetting, the question to ask is, what am I forgetting? What am I trying to forget? What is the conflict that is swirling in the center of my heart?
So this guy just didn't say, hey, I forgot the flowers, I forgot to get you chocolate. It's about their conflict in making that commitment.
Well, all behavior is communication, right?
Yes.
So the act of forgetting is a communication to the self and to the other. What does it mean? This forgetting.
A lot of guys may not spend that much time analyzing these kinds of things. They just say, hey, I forgot. I meant to, and I'm sorry. Can I take you out on the next day?
But what may happen then if the man actually survives?
Yes, there is a risk.
What may happen is what is attempting to arrive. What is attempting to find its way into the mind and therefore into the relationship will continue to knock at the door, and there will be a continued series of forgettings. The symptom will travel throughout the course of this relationship until it is finally answered, until the door is opened and you greet and you answer the very thing that was at the heart of that forgetting. Am I wrong?
Well, we need time to process that information, but it could be that this is not the relationship for that person, and this is just a series of things leading to it. Or
it could be it is the relationship, and that is the reason for forgetting. People often, if the message you receive by someone in your life forgetting Valentine's Day, it certainly could be that they're not thinking of you and they're not invested in you the same way they are.
They may not.
But it's also possible that they actually are invested, and this generates a conflict. There is something scary about love. I'm not talking about the sort of love that, one night stands or this sort of whatever. That's not really love.
No.
Actual love is a very dangerous thing.
Wow.
What's that Leonard Cohen lyric? Let's do something dangerous. Let's get married. Because that level of commitment, that level of investment, it's a scary thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, commitment, just the word commit, I am committed to this person, this relationship. Wow, it comes with a lot of...
I'm committed to an institution. I mean, there are two ways to look at that.
Yeah, there's different ways of being committed, I guess.
Yeah, there is.
That is a good point, because, yes, it is. I'm not sure where to go after that, other than to say that this notion of commitment takes work, does it not? You have to maintain this. You have to work at it. It's
My favorite philosopher, he's one of my favorites, Alain Badiou. He has
Oh,
this
yeah.
wonderful book. We talked about this one
Yeah.
time. He has this wonderful book called In Praise of Love, and I recommend anybody get this book.
Okay.
You can actually
In Praise
probably
of Love.
find it for free and steal it on the internet if you want. It's a very
Okay,
short
there you
book,
go.
probably about 150 pages. And it is Badu, and he is, and I think now in his 80s. And when this book was written, he was in his 70s. So this is sort of a perspective from a French philosopher on love. And what Badu says that love is an event. And what that means is that it is something that arrives, and for something to be a true event, you are not the same after it arrives. Something changes. And like any other event, for it to maintain its change, for it to continue to generate the trajectory that it is supposed to generate in your life,
Right.
it requires a fidelity to the event, which means you have to have an investment. You have to continue to invest in the event itself, in this case, the event of love. So one must have a fidelity to love. Now, what's good about Valentine's Day is that in some ways it forces us to annually think about our investment in this fidelity, in this
Yes,
act,
at
in
least
this
that
event.
one day out
And
of
that
the
one day.
365.
Which in some ways, and again, if I could talk about one of my other favorite philosophers,
Sure.
Slavoj Žižek.
Oh, I knew this guy was coming up.
Now, Žižek would say, actually, Valentine's Day is a really bad idea.
Okay, got a different take on it.
Because instead of an actual fidelity to the event, you then can just simply put it on the calendar, and you never really have to do it yourself. You have the big other. You have a system. It's like a laugh track. Valentine's Day is like a laugh track. It's something that's supposed to do the laughing for you. It doesn't. Your real investment has now been outsourced to this holiday of Valentine's Day.
So the card and the box of chocolates, get that out. You don't
Well,
have to be invested in this.
That
You
is
just go
somebody
through it.
else's symbol, not the one that has been co-created and generated within your
In you,
relationship.
In the relationship.
So
Oh, I like
what my man Žižek would say
Yes.
is that, and I think Badu as well, that true fidelity is a daily, an hourly. It is not something that you put on the calendar. And so Valentine's Day can be a problem in that sense. I mean, you could say the same for something like Christmas. One day a year, we're going to love all of humanity.
Right. Right.
Well, you
Just
know
that
what?
One day, not the
There are
rest.
364 more days
Turns
where
out, yes.
you might ought to be doing that. So my thought might be is that maybe instead of a Valentine's Day, maybe if this is a moment to be able to sit down with a person that you have that level of investment in, or persons. I mean, you know, this isn't California, but or people, or wherever your investment lies, and to be able to work out what this fidelity would look like. What should a year of investment look like?
Right.
What is it that the person and also to main fidelity to love, it is what also makes it very, very dangerous. And this, in some ways, the most dangerous event is love. And why? Because it requires you to have to confront yourself with an other, right?
Mm-hmm.
It truly involves an engagement with another person, which, again, from this philosophical perspective, it's a dangerous thing, right?
It is, isn't it? All right. I like that. I like that take. We have to, every once in a while, we just need to pause and let these thoughts. You got time for the people viewing, myself too included. Just
I had to
kind of
pause for a
understand what
beverage.
just happened just there.
Pause for a beverage.
Yeah, well, that's you. All right.
Now- What I'm mad about this is because
Okay, well,
we're
you go
taking
on.
this to
I
a
have some
philosophical
questions.
level. Oh, go ahead with the questions.
No, no.
Go ahead, man.
No. I think
Okay.
keep going.
I think if we take this into a psychological perspective, I think we should look to our attachment theorist friends to be able to think about this whole
Yes,
love
here
thing.
we go. Yes.
And what makes the act of love dangerous, but also and requiring a fidelity, is also the fact that it changes things. And your capacity to attach, your capacity to invest is a very important thing for yourself
Absolutely.
and the world around you. And so what I might ask is, for those of us, and all of us have some conflict in this area. We have a difficulty being able to invest in the other. All of us are made afraid by this. How do you answer those fears? You began this by talking about somebody forgetting Valentine's Day.
Yes.
My challenge to everyone out there who probably will never see this, but if they do, is, what are you afraid of? What's the fear? What makes this level of attachment so dangerous and difficult?
Wow. You know, and the commercialization of this, it puts it right in your face. You see the ads throughout the week leading up to this, and you have this responsibility to do something and make a statement about it.
Is it just me, but most of these ads have a great deal of male nudity? I don't know what that is.
I don't know, but I did see one about the Vermont teddy bear, the 4-foot, 5-foot teddy bear. Did you
Teddy
see
bear?
that? Yes.
Was that was that Miley Cyrus? She was in that. She was in that, right?
It might have been something else, but I'm not really sure about those kinds of things. So,
Which, by the way, I wouldn't mind having a wrecking ball for Valentine's Day. Wouldn't that? Nothing says I love you like a wrecking ball.
Oh my goodness! You know, just so quickly our show can turn from the French philosophers to Miley Cyrus. See if I can get those out.
I
don't
think
know. I guess that makes sense, but all right. But yeah, no, it's very important what you say. It's dangerous. This thing called love, as they say.
And it requires fidelity. It requires investment. It requires the work. And I think on your end of the spectrum, they would say communication, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That the capacity to be able to talk with yourself and someone else, and that is often. For instance, if you forgot today, if you forgot Valentine's Day and you come home,
all right,
saying you're sorry is certainly important.
Yes, it's important. Not going to cut
But maybe the next step is to be able to talk with let the person who you forgot, whose feelings are hurt, let them speak. What happens if it opens up a conversation and gets them to be able to talk about the ways in which this hurt them, and maybe the ways in which you yourself may be hurting as a result of this? It could be an opportunity for a level of communication and connection that otherwise would have been absent
and it might
if you hadn't screwed up.
Yes, yes, but it might not be what you think, because some people are interested in the social context of this, because others ask them, "What did you get for Valentine's Day?" "What? Oh, he forgot. He didn't get you anything." And then it becomes that issue outside of the person in the.
But you'll notice though, and I've been listening to this. We are speaking in a gendered way. We often say she. Now, part of that's because, I mean, our objects of choice are the opposite gender.
Yep.
But I'm also wondering too, is there some sort of calcified gender politics in this, that somehow women are supposed to expect something, or, right?
Yeah, I think that's an important piece of it. Can we jump back to attachment just a minute? Attachment. Because you talked about that. We didn't get very far, and we've actually had some shows where we talked more in depth on attachment theory and Bowlby, Ainsworth, all those guys. And so the interesting, and Bowlby wrote the book Secure Attachment, is my attachment now always based on how I was raised in those early 18 months. When a person is forming the personality and has that attachment, and Bowlby talks about various kinds, the avoidant and so forth, but if something goes wrong, is that always going to end up my having attachment problems in the current relationship? Is it always connected? Is that past always connected to the...
Yeah, we call that in the business, is it developmental determinism?
Right.
Are you fated, tragically bound to your earliest history? Well, if that were the case, our profession would be completely screwed. I mean, if that were the case, you know, guy.
There would be no change possible. We're just living it out.
The electricity at my house would not come on when I hit the switch. I mean, like, that's not. So what I would say to that is,
so there is
and the research says
that can be changed, right?
It can. What often happens is someone can be use Bowlby's language, through generating a secure base with a therapist or with people that they love. You can generate that throughout your life. It may require a level of effort, and once that happens, you are no longer, quote, insecurely attached, but you still have a shadow, an echo of the attachment style that you had prior to. Outcome studies on this show that people are able to generate significant connections, and they become asymptomatic in lots of ways. But in moments of stress, they may often find themselves take a step back before they step forward again. There's also a tendency, a propensity to sort of feel a tug and a pull toward your earliest, your attachment style. So you are secure, but with you still have this quote attachment style. So it's like, and we talked about those before.
Right.
The attachment styles are pretty simple. There is, I suck, you don't. You suck, I don't. We both suck.
Right.
So there is.
I'm sure those are.
But how they work is right. There is the avoidant.
Yes.
And that is somebody who says, you suck, I don't.
Right.
There is the insecure, I suck and you don't. And there's the disorganized, where everybody sucks.
Everybody.
And so what that means is if you are in the avoidant, I'm feeling okay, but you're dangerous, man. You could be doing some damage, so I back away. If I'm insecure, you have something I need almost desperately. I'm not so good, but if I could hold on to you for a brief moment, I'm okay.
You know, you could apply that template over relationships that you see in therapy. You see those couples that come in. You kind of use that attachment template to put right over and just see where people land on that.
And from those, you build what's known as an internal working model, and you have a map of how you move about the world and your expectations of others. And that map is sort of, typically it's not a conscious thing,
Right.
but it can be seen in your actions. It can be when someone tells you, anybody, you can practice this at home. When you're talking to a friend, they're always telling you stories about, like what happened to them at work and what happened when they went to the movies or when they went to buy a donut or whatever. When they tell you stories that involve interaction with another human being, you can begin to compile those stories and you can begin to see thematic elements. And from there, you can come up with a hypothesis of what their internal working model is. And so you listen to that in therapy. Lots of times people are telling you story after story. You'll notice that there are certain thematic elements
Absolutely a theme.
that allow us to sort of see what their guiding schema, what their narrative map is. And then you exploit them with it. That's a joke.
No. Well, we certainly understand. All right, that's good information you provided today. It started out with Valentine's Day. We ended up with attachment. I like it. Very interesting show today. Glad you were.
And you thought I was going to start off by talking about how flowers disgust me because basically they're genitals. I'm just going to tell you that.
Okay.
It's disgusting.
All right, so this is the time when the show begins to disintegrate, and we probably need to end on this note right here. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Got Therapy. I'm Michael Baltimore. It's Dr. Dan Rose. Got Therapy each week on Columbus State Television.
I was going to carve my beard in the shape of a heart.
You know, I was hoping we'd get through this show without mentioning your beard, but we didn't do it. That's
I'm
my
going to
goal.
get it trimmed today.
My goal on this show.
A team to do
Ladies
that.
and gentlemen, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.